understand.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order of the Property Maintenance Advisory Board. All of our members are present tonight. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 11th, 2020 meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Anybody have any? You have any? No. Christian? Okay. Then we'll just go forward with our old business, Christian. First property would be 210 Wendell Street. Oh, these are not, yeah, these are, yeah, this is all new business. Yeah, that's okay. And I guess the first one is miscellaneous, property maintenance, Chapter 1 miscellaneous.
210 Wendell Street, this appears to be in violation.
This is new business, because we had when the new miscellaneous code was passed, we had to start over with our miscellaneous problems. Do you have any, can you tell us what all do you feel makes it qualify for?
The debris that's scattered through the yard is what would qualify on this property maintenance code, on the miscellaneous code, rather.
Does anybody of the board have any questions of Christian about this property and this violation? Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the miscellaneous code?
I move that we concur with the code administrator's findings.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Can I ask a question? That did pass, so that motion passed. So am I correct that now that we are in agreement, now the timing starts for this violation?
Yes, and I think it's 15 days on this one.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the second one is also 210 Wendell Street, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles.
On this one, there's one vehicle here, which is the green vehicle that is not tagged. All the other vehicles, the two other cars that are there do have tags and are operable. The only one that is not tagged is the green one.
Do you know if it's operable?
It looks like it would be. It just doesn't have any tags on it.
On the others, how did you determine that they were operable?
Well, because he actually drives them all the time
Okay.
is how I know that. And, on this, now this is on, at his residence on this side of the street here.
Are there any other vehicles besides the cars there on that property?
Not at this time on that property,
Okay.
no.
So you find that this is in violation?
As of that
As that
day,
one-
as of the day the pictures were taken, no. There was not other vehicles there, so.
Right.
But yes, you know, if you leave your vehicle setting, you know, it would be in a violation of our code. They do have to be tagged and operated.
Right, right.
Motion to concur with the finding.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion or any other questions for Christian about this property? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next one would be 210 Wendell Street, slum clearance.
This also appears to be in violation this is just from the exterior of the residence. If y'all do find it to be in violation as well, then we'll move forward with sending letters to, I would actually need to enter the residence and do an inspection on it to further this case.
Does anybody have any questions about this property and slum clearance before we have a motion? So
Yeah,
you,
just a comment. It's just, seems a shame to me for a home that has looked as good as it has over its life to be in the condition that it's in now. It's just a sad situation. Would love that it could be brought back, but I'm doubtful that it's too far gone.
It looks that way just from holes underneath and the siding falling off, but, you know, I mean, I'm not sure if it's leaking or anything's rotted out yet, but, you know, as we proceed with this, if y'all concur with the findings, then I will set up a time and try to enter the residence to inspect it further.
is there a motion to concur with our codes inspector about this property being in violation of slum clearance?
I'll make the motion to concur.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there, are there any other questions or any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The next one would be 211 Wendell Street in violation of the miscellaneous code.
This appears to be in violation at this time as well.
And with the new wording in the amended miscellaneous code, do you have any, do you feel clear that you can understand what all is in violation when you go and inspect that property?
Yes, and you know, I know that's not a real good zoom in close-up picture, but there's, you know, appliances and random metal parts, you know, and things of that nature that are scattered throughout that property that will need to be cleaned up.
Is there a motion that this property at 211 Wendell Street is in violation and that we concur with the codes inspector about this property?
Move that we concur.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any question, are there any questions or any discussion?
Yes. What about the hole for the basement?
Well, the hole is actually, you know, not a problem, being that it is on private property. That would come into play with anybody having per se a sinkhole or something. It's not mandatory. You know, if it was on or close to the city street where you were walking on a sidewalk beside the hole, then it would definitely become a problem. I mean, I don't think there's anything that I can actually say to make them fill up that hole.
What about holding water in the way of,
Now, if it was, holding water and creating, mosquito problems and things of that nature, then it probably could be addressed.
so maybe that's something that could be looked at when you go back to that property?
Could be, yes.
Because with all the rain, if it's
I
holding
can-
water,
I can
you'll be
look
able to
into that a
tell.
little more, yeah.
Did you feel like you got your question answered? Or? Any other questions? He could always look at that when he's over there.
Yeah, I just don't think that the whole comes into play in what we're doing with the miscellaneous code. If it is something that's holding water and creating, a problem in that area, then I could definitely check into it.
Yeah, I don't think our codes address
That doesn't-
holes in the ground necessarily, but they
No,
do
but-
address health hazards, those sort of things, so.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, because it does mention about retaining water and mosquitoes and that kind of stuff, I think. I don't know if it actually says the word mosquitoes, but something like that. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The next would be 211 Wendell Street, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative vehicles.
And this appears to be in violation as well, being that the tags are out on the truck. The red car is not tagged at all, period.
There's several more vehicles over there now.
Now, the Monte Carlo, the black car is tagged and is operable, or it was when he was on this list before and he put tags on it. And that car will start and drive, which that's the only other one that is there. As you can see, it's in the background.
But not as of today.
It's not there today?
No, there's others today.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's,
Motion to concur with the finding.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion or any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We now have 605 Evans Street, miscellaneous code.
this property also appears to be in violation of the miscellaneous code.
What do you have an idea of what all you think violates the code?
Well, it's back a little bit overgrown. There's random things blowed around the yard and things on the porches and stuff that can blow off. As you can see, there's a small plastic table that's in the yard, and around the house there's pieces of gutter and in their yard and things that would qualify for this miscellaneous code.
Is there a motion to concur with our codes administrator that this property is in violation of the miscellaneous code?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion, any questions for Christian? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Now we have the same property in violation of slum clearance.
And this also is a similar situation where from the exterior of the property you can see that there's things that are rotting away and that it's dilapidating and needs to be addressed. And and if you do find that it is in violation, as I think it is, then we also will send them a letter and prepare a time to enter this property to look at it further as well.
Is this property occupied?
No, it's not. No one's living there at the time.
Just for clarification, if we find it in violation and you do schedule the time to go in and look, and you go in and everything is fine in there, that doesn't make it in, that doesn't make it out, I mean, that don't.
From the outside, there is things that are going to have to be taken care of. There's open holes for animals to travel in and out. There's the facers and stuff are falling off, and it's becoming worse as the days go on. That things will have to be addressed. You know, the seriousness of it is, you know, that house may be one that they may be able to fix. And that's something that we will look at when we go in, you know, whenever we get them the letter sent to get a time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion that, to concur with our codes administrator that this property is possibly in violation of slum clearance?
Make the motion to concur.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The next one is 315 South Church Street with a miscellaneous code.
This appears to be in violation as well.
I was curious why there are no anything on here about abandoned vehicles.
Well, on abandoned vehicles, it falls under a different category on commercial property. And so the way that the vehicle property reads, if you own commercial property, which I have it here if you'd like to see it.
Could you read it to us, that part?
Okay, this is storing, parking, or leaving dismantled or other such motor vehicles is prohibited and declared a nuisance, with the exception this connection with a business enterprise lawfully licensed by the town and properly operated in the business zone. So even though these vehicles may not be running, they are tied to a commercial business. So, you know, they may be using some things for parts, you know, putting on other fuel trucks and things of that nature, which when you get into the commercial end of it, it is a little bit different than residential property.
Could you tell me where that is in the code?
It's on 13202. It's probably about the third sentence down into that paragraph.
Oh, does anybody want a copy of that? There's some up there. I guess, I kind of interpreted this differently than what you're saying, and I'm not for sure, Ray may be able to answer this for us, but I thought that if it was tied to a commercial business, it was a business that dealt with automobiles, that it wasn't just junk cars sitting on a commercial property.
Well, that's like, you know, their business is delivering fuel. So you have a fuel truck here, you have tankers here, you know, a flatbed truck, you know, that they have used in their business. I mean, that is tied to their business. So in the way I read it, that is their commercial property tied to a commercial business, which they do. They are licensed, they're legal in the city of Livingston. You know, they have met all the criteria, it seems to me.
I don't know, Ray, are you able to answer that at all? Because it looks, when you see those vehicles, you can tell they've not been used for many years. And I guess I just interpreted this differently than what we're talking about now.
So I think this is something maybe that we would ask the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to refer back to John Meadows for clarification like we did on the miscellaneous, because I don't think that the intent when this was written was to simply allow junk car storage on commercial spaces, even though they are associated somehow with that commercial use in the past.
Because you can tell they don't use them. I mean, they've been sitting there for a long, long
Well,
time.
the one help to my conclusion was by talking to John Meadows previously, and I mean, that was what I was told. You can definitely, you know, present your ideas to him, and you know, but I mean, that's what I was told by John, that you know, if it's tied to a commercial business and that's what there's, you know, that was part of their stuff, you know, for parts or whatever, then it would meet the criteria in the exceptions. So, but it's something we could look into further if we'd like to.
Okay, so we probably now just need to deal with this violation of the miscellaneous code. Sorry. We just need to deal with the violation of the miscellaneous code since that's what's in front of us tonight. So you find it's in violation of the
It's
miscellaneous
definitely in
code?
violation of the miscellaneous code, and I was doing a little further research, and I wasn't 100% clear until today, actually, that sidewalk actually does not go with that building. It becomes 25 feet off the center of that street to the edge of the city's property. So, this sidewalk is definitely, a huge problem with pallets and such that are stacked on it. And then, you can see the growed up weeds and such around the back of the building that will need to be taken care of if y'all concur with this.
Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the miscellaneous code?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any questions or discussion further? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The next one is 521 Sevier Street, the miscellaneous code.
This property appears to be in violation of the miscellaneous code.
Make a motion, we concur with the finding.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any questions of Christian?
If I may, the people that are living there at this time, this gentleman has Alzheimer's. Is not going to come out of it most likely, and so his daughter's living there now, and she has already started trying to take care of some of this debris. She's actually put an ad on Swap and Shop. Anybody wants it can have it. It's free. Come and get it. So if anybody wants anything there, it's free to go. So it's definitely underway. There's been a few things removed, and I think it will be taken care of. So, but she's been very concerned, called me 3 or 4 times, and so I just want to express that she's concerned about it as well, and does want it cleaned up. So,
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The next is 411 High Street, violation of the miscellaneous code.
this property appears to be in violation of the miscellaneous as well.
Could you explain a little bit about what you found in the...
Well, as you can see, there's just random debris scattered from the house all the way out to the street. It's just, that will definitely need to be something taken care of.
Is there a motion that this property is in violation of the miscellaneous code?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Is that complete the agenda? Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April the 7th at 5:30 p.m. I just need a motion to adjourn.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
A question of
Sure.
Christian before we adjourn?
Sure.
We've had the house, I can't remember what street it's on, over by T-Cats, on the agenda a few times, and I think the last remaining thing was a couple of trailers in the rear. What's the status of those trailers? And
Well, that's something that I've been questioned on as well. So we went we were going to remove the trailers from the property. We had the impound yard cleaned out, and so the trailers did not have up-to-date tags on them.
okay.
So apparently, by rule, that he had to put semi-tags on the trailers. The gentleman is wanting the trailers moved.
Okay.
He don't want them, I mean, he would like, and there is another guy, and it's Frankie Dixon, that has come in here, and it was a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I'm going to get them out of there. So there's another conversation I had with John on where we stood on that at the time. Well, if they didn't have the proper tag, even though he has no tractor, and he does not pull these on the road, they are legal to be pulled because they are up-to-date tags for up to 2020. So, I think the last one was the RV. I went back on it again. Thought the front end was out from under it, but the thing actually started. It sounded terrible, but it did start, so, this feller, has had a rough little time. Some carpet that was in the yard last year is still in the back of his truck. Apparently, you don't have enough money to pay to have it done. So, but he did get everything tagged up, and also he is still trying to get Mr. Dixon to move them to a lot in Rickman that he has. But I mean, that's another conversation we can bring back up. Are they just sitting there for storage? The low boy is empty. I looked in it, and I didn't go in the one in the backyard, but he did tell me that there was a few articles of furniture in it out of his basement. When it flooded, he moved stuff in there. So I don't know what all is going on as far as him using them as storage, but I know the one right beside the house it is empty. But that's where we're at on that.
Did Mr. Dixon indicate any time frame as to when he might get the trailers?
No, he came in the other day and just asked, was he still wanting those moving? I said, yes, he is. He still would like to have them moving. He said, I'm going to try to get it for him. So, you're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you.